Hi everyone! Again, kind of. I did used to make Flosstube videos. Only made about 4 or 5 before my life collapsed, but that's neither here nor there. I will link them below if anyone's interested, but I am going to cover pretty much everything again, as if I am brand new. I have got a list to try and stop me from blabbering. I'm sorry, it probably will happen. I've had coffee, but it's never enough. Caffeine loading. Please wait. Something's frozen because I swear the caffeine, it hasn't loaded. So I've got a list. I'm going to stick to it as much as I can because I've kind of got a lot to cover and I don't want to take up too much of your time. Don't know if you can hear that, but apparently it's about to storm. So we're going to start with my stitching story. Getting distracted. I'm so easily distracted. I discovered cross-stitching about 10 years ago. Stay-at-home mum. My son was very independent. He didn't really want to spend a lot of time with me, which is fine. Like, whatever. But a good friend introduced me to cross-stitch, jumped in, feet first, deep end, as I do with everything, and he got to my stash. I didn't put it away properly. Was a new mum, didn't realise how much he could get to, and he opened all of my floss, so I didn't know what was what. I'll show you later how I store my floss, and it'll sort of make a bit more sense as to why I couldn't tell what they were. He also ate the colour conversion for my first cross stitch. I did try and find it, but I think I must have thrown it out in one of my recent purges. It was a chart I made myself with an ancient program that was already buggy. I couldn't replicate it. Not finished, but whatever. So I put it away, picked it up 4 years again, obviously, because that's when I joined the Flosstube community. Mental health took a dive, which is why I disappeared off the face of the earth with no warning, and I've started again recently, even though my mental health still isn't great. Ironically, I'm on forced leave from work, but I've rediscovered cross stitch, I've rediscovered the community, and hopefully this time it sticks because I love cross stitch. Like, I have OCD. It's not me throwing around the term as a lot of people do. I actually have diagnosed OCD. Mine is centered around organizing. Everything's got to be orderly. It's got to be the same. It's got to match. So cross stitch is actually really, really good for me because it's so repetitive. You've got the same thing again and again. And it's not boring. So a lot of repetitive things, you don't get anything out of it. Whereas cross stitch, it's repetitive and it's amazing what you can create. So that's pretty much my stitching story. It's not interesting, even though it's been so long. I've got nothing to show from it. I will show you sort of why I stopped 4 years ago, I guess. This is Fairy Bubbles by Josephine Wall, Heaven and Earth Designs. 99.9% of my whips are Heaven and Earth designs. I adore what Michelle can do with a piece of artwork. Like, it's just, that's my style. I like cross stitch that looks like art. I don't even know which way this goes up now. I think it's this way. So this was Fairy Bubbles by Josephine Wall. I've already unpicked all of the left-hand side and quite a lot of the right-hand side. I didn't like the coverage. There's probably nothing wrong with it, but for me, I couldn't keep stitching while seeing the little pinpointer hole. I've only ever stitched on an 18 count. I just couldn't do it, so I unpicked it, but I grew tired of unpicking, and I didn't have the money to replace the fabric, so it just got put away. That was 2/1 on 18 count, loop method. I know most people actually swear 2/1 is what 18 count requires. it wasn't enough for me. I did try 4/1 because I love the loop method. It was too much. It was like, you know, pulling teeth how thick it was. So I now do 3/1. The pin stitch is my savior. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And just recently discovered you can actually finish with the pin stitch. So 3/1 pin stitch plus, sorry, I was organized and it's just here. 3/1 pin stitch with a laying tool, my best friends. So have just started again. I did quite a bit of stitching last year. Had about 6 columns done on different whips, and unfortunately, because of my recent crash, I had to unpick them. There was nothing wrong with them. I didn't have a record of them, of when I started, of how much time I spent on them. I and myself couldn't keep stitching without the record. So I unpicked 6 columns of Haid, which is what, almost half a page. Different ones, not the one. And at the moment, I don't know if I'm going to be able to work on Haids until I have all of them. Keeping in mind, I'll show you my wanted whips. That's how thick it is. I printed them off to make it easier to share, and I almost died when I saw how many there were. So, not going to go through them in this video because that would be forever. I'm going to leave a link here and down in the information box if you want to see me go through my wanted whips for Haid. That's where it'll be. Hopefully my OCD will calm down because I did recently get a new diagnosis of not OCD, something else. So hopefully that'll allow me to work on what I've got rather than requiring me to have 100 Haids ready to go. So the biggest change from 4 years ago is my name. I was Sher Warner. I am now Therese Warner, or Tess. I don't mind what you call me, Therese or Tess, T, whatever. I never liked my name Sher, ever. Growing up, hated it. I remember when my siblings were born, because I was like 6 when the first one was born, every time Mum had a baby, which 3 times, but huge, I'd ask her for a new name. I'm like, hey, while you're thinking of their name, can you give me a new one? So last year, with a few other health issues, I decided that I'm going to change my name to make me happy rather than keeping a name to keep someone else happy. I know it's hard for Mum. She still hasn't fully accepted the name change, but I had to do it. It was obviously not the only cause of my anxiety, but it was enough that I had to do it. It wasn't a split decision. I've been thinking of this for years. Like, as I said, I was 6 and I was asking for a new name. So it's not a new thing, but I love it. I am so much happier with my new name, which again, you wouldn't really realize because, you know, mental breakdown. But anyway, neither here nor there. Moving on. Not a huge amount has changed from 4 years ago, surprisingly enough. The biggest change is how I stitch. I used to do extreme cross country, as you probably saw from my used to be whip. I love it. I do miss extreme cross country, but getting a max color chart from Haid, I've discovered that the program I use on my iPad doesn't actually highlight all the symbols correctly. So I couldn't do the cross stitching the way I was used to doing it. So last year I tried a few different methods, parking by row, parking. I tried the 10 by 10 square. I think I've come up with my ideal compromise. So I'm doing cross country per column, and I'm working on a column at a time before I move on. But again, unfortunately, the Haids have been put away because of my mental health. But anyway, so yes, I do cross country by column. Love it. That's perfect. Combines both. I get to see it grow. I get to do my cross country, but I'm not actually wasting time highlighting, which means I will get more stitching done eventually. Other than that, I think that's about the only change. There were whips that I shared in that video, I'm sorry, I hope this rain isn't too loud. It was like boiling hot half an hour ago, and now it's like thundering. Aussie weather, gotta love it. Yeah, the whips I showed in my previous channel, they're gone. It's really funny. I watched just to get an idea. I was like so excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna finish. It's gonna be great. They're gone. I've thrown them out. It was one of my purchases. They're gone. I don't mind. It is what it is. I enjoyed stitching them. For me, it's not the end result. It's the journey. Like, if I want to do 100 Hades at one time, like, it's obviously not about finishing a project. I enjoy organizing the project and preparing the project as much as I enjoy stitching the project. So I don't care if I die and have 300 unfinished whips. I don't care. I enjoy the process. I don't need to finish. And probably is better that I don't finish because, let's be honest, Hades are big and I don't have enough room in my house to hang them all. I am going to quickly go through Know Your Needleworker tag. Just quickly, any other questions you have, pop them in the comments, send me a PM, however you want to do it. Just thought that'd be a basic overall getting to know me, because I don't think anyone does anymore. I've been missing for too long, but sorry, I'll get into it. I'm so distracted. That is really loud. Let's... Okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah. Should probably shut husband's window too so it doesn't rain into his computer. That's a bit... Rain's not going far. Sorry. Focus. Where do I live? As I said, Aussie weather. I live in Australia. Canberra, the nation's capital, which a lot of people apparently didn't know, or maybe I'm just in the wrong circles. Sydney is not the capital of Australia. Sydney is probably our most well-known capital. Canberra. I love Canberra. It's perfect. It's all the benefits of a city with country living. Like, it's so spread out. It doesn't feel like you're living in a city, but you've got access to pretty much everything. So I love living here. The weather is great. Australia is known to be hot, and yes, it does get hot, but it's not as bad as where I grew up. So it's all good. That's my thumbs, by the way, not weird things. Anyway, what do you do for a living? I work at a chemist. I'm one of the checkout chicks. I love it there. Like, I think I'm done with retail. I think I'm going to look at moving out of retail, but I love it. It's one of the best jobs I've had, probably the best job I've had. The people are great. Most of the customers are great. It's a great company. They look after their staff. So yes, I work at a chemist. I'm a checkout chick, and I also part-time work. I live at the dance studio. Not actually, but I spend 15 hours a week there, so it's a part-time job. I can't go anywhere else. Traveling is too far. Again, spread out capital. It would take me just as long to get home, and then I'd have to turn around and go back. Both my children dance, which is the next question. Do you have any children? Yes, I've got 2. Both my kids dance, and I don't mind. I love that they dance. I did have photos, and I've lost... Where did I have my photos? Yes, both my children dance. The obsession was started with my daughter because she needed something to entertain her while my son was at school, and he picked it up last year. So these are my babies. This is last year at Samuel's graduation. Oh my goodness, my baby has finished primary school. Like, I'm a young mum. I get that. I shouldn't have a high school student at my age, but I do. And I'm a lot younger by almost 10 years than all of the other mums in the sort of kids' friendship circles. I feel old. Oh my goodness, my baby is in high school. My baby is 9. What? We're halfway through our parenting. Like, I know you're always parents that's never going to change. But we're halfway through our actual having to be hands-on parents. We're legally and, responsible for you to keep you alive. Wow. So yeah, they're my babies. Aren't they just the cutest? Their smiles, guys. It fills my heart. Like, they are so cute. They are such good kids. I am so lucky with how good my kids are. Like, they don't fight with each other. Like, they're amazing. They're amazing kids. They've got brilliant manners. You can take them anywhere. And I love it. So yeah, I do have children. And this is from the same night, just a family photo. Myself, obviously, and that's my husband. We are young. He has not changed, I don't think, at all since I met him, 14 years ago. But yeah, and I've actually got him into cross-stitching, which is exciting. Not sure if I'll get him on videos when he starts, but I'll definitely be sharing his updates when he gets to them. We've got to buy the chart and the fabric, and as I said, I'm on forced leave, so we're a bit tight financially at the moment with the 2 kids and the 15 hours of dancing a week and private schooling. Like, don't care. Absolutely would do it in a heartbeat. Like, would give up anything for my kids, but his cross-stitching journey is going to have to come a bit later. Do you have any pets? Yes. He would prefer me to have 1. I have 5. So this baby is the start of it all. It's a really bad photo. She is so hard to take photos of. As you can see, she's quite dark. She's got dark little face. Her paws are quite dark. She's got quite dark spots. She's a ragdoll. She is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Even if you're not a cat person, I think everyone agrees that ragdolls are adorable and friendly. Like, so yes, she's quite dark. If she sees me, she's all over me. So she's not around now because she hates thunderstorms, so she's probably under my son's bed, which is where she lives when she's scared. But if she can see me and if she's in the room, she's on me. So it's really hard to take a good photo of her. She's dark colouring. I was getting ready to bed, but she was sleeping like this, so I just had to take a photo. But yes, so Luna, my ragdoll, she's 8. She's not 8. Oh my goodness. She's 4. And she is my darling. She's my baby. Everyone tries to say she's a family cat. No, she's my baby. She's mine. So that's the only pet David wanted. I got a bird for my birthday last year, and he ended up becoming 2 birds. Quickly tell this story. I think my husband's the only one that doesn't find it funny. Got him, had him for a week. He didn't make a sound. Like, he was a budgie who made no sound. We were at a pet store picking something up for Luna, and all the birds there were talking. And I just turned to my husband, I'm like, why do you think they're talking and Zoid's not? Oh, Zoid is Dr. Zoidbird. My husband helped me name him. And he's just gone, because I got someone to talk to. And it didn't trigger until I went to another pet store alone. Those birds were talking, and I just felt this overwhelming guilt. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst pet mum ever. He's not talking because he's lonely. Oh my God, how could I do this? Long story short, I ended up bringing another bird home. And the funny thing is, he still hasn't made a sound. She won't shut up. So, no, he was just a quiet bird. What are you going to do? We've now got 2. And the 4th and 5th pet, 2 guinea pigs. That again was a bit of an oops. Didn't intend to have guinea pigs. One of Elisa's friends had some. Their mum was getting rid of them because they weren't spending any time with them. She's like, hey, I'd prefer they go to someone I know. Are you interested? And the kids heard and I heard, and I'm like, yes! So we now have 2 guinea pigs as well. And I really want a dog, but I need to get a better paying job before we can bring anything else into our financial diet, because it's quite strict. But I don't mind, because 5 pets that's plenty. and I probably don't have time for a dog to walk them, and I live at work and dancing. What are your other hobbies besides stitching? Reading and writing. I love reading. I've always been into reading. Even as a child, I didn't really play with toys. I read. That I just read. The librarian knew me by name, even though I was like school age. My school librarian, she would put new books aside and give them to me straight away. I was a whale reader. Now, that has decreased substantially since having kids, unfortunately. But I still love to read, and I'm actually making more of an effort this year to get back into reading because I miss it. Writing, I don't think I'm any good at it. I enjoy it. So in November, I participate in NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. Try and write 50,000 words in 30 days. Yes, it is insane. Yes, it is crazy, but yes, it can be done. I have now done it for 8 years. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So yes, reading and writing, absolute favourites. What is your favourite movie? This changes. I don't know whether it's me or whether it's part of my OCD, but I become obsessed with, well, obsessive compulsive disorder, so it's probably OCD. I become obsessed. I will fixate on a movie and I will watch it to death. And that's all I do. Like, I just watch that one movie. So I don't have an overall favourite, but my current favourite, I should have had this organised. My current favourite is, what's your number? It's got Anna Faris and Chris Evans. It's adorable. Like, I've watched it hundreds of times. I'm not sure if iTunes tells me how many times I've watched it, but I would probably cry because, without exaggeration, without a word of a lie, hundreds of times. I will tell you 2 movies. I've got one with me. One is missing, which actually upsets me. But Alex and Emma. So I love reading and writing, as I said. Alex and Emma is about Alex, obviously, and he owes people money. And he has 30 days to finish his book so he can give them the money before they kill him. That's not a spoiler. That's like first 5 minutes of the movie. I love the way they've done this. Him managing to write a full book, in 30 days is just great. And like, I know I participate in NaNoWriMo and that's 30 days. There's no way my book has anything on that. And there's no way that actually happened. But love it. The other movie I love that I can't find is Stranger Than Fiction. It's got Will Ferrell in it, and he is the main character in someone's book. And it's amazing. Like, so he's a character in her book, but he's actually a real person. So that's a good movie as well. I love that one. Favorite book? No, favorite TV show. Sorry. Again, the obsessive, I get completely obsessed with a show and I will watch it to death. My poor husband, I feel so sorry for him. Mythbusters is a constant. Have watched that thousands of times. Like, I just put shows on, like, just for background noise to fall asleep. Like, I really struggle to fall asleep without sound because my mind won't shut up. So I put sound on for focus. So yeah, Mythbusters I've watched thousands of times. My current obsession, though, is The Good Place. Oh my goodness, you need to watch that. It's on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's anywhere else. I think it's on iTunes. I've heard people struggle with the first couple of episodes. Push through, mate. Like, oh my goodness, it is so good. Kristen Bell, Ted Danson, need I say more? Like, it is such a clever show. Like, you need to see it. Yeah, my poor husband. Like, I'm struggling at the moment. Like, my obsessiveness seems to increase when my depression is worse, though offside it may not be depression, it may be bipolar. Didn't mean, whatever. So my OCD gets worse when I go through crashes. So I have watched The Good Place. I will watch episode 1 right through, and then I finish it, and then I just literally, I have it on like 24/7 when I'm awake. The Good Place is on. Favorite book? Surprisingly, this hasn't changed. So movie, TV show, it completely depends on my mood and what my current obsession is. My favorite book has not changed since 1996. That's huge. The Ancient Future, The Dark Ages by Tracy Harding. She's an Australian author. She is amazing. I've met her in person, like not just a signing, like she hung out with her fans. Like we went to Sydney, Darling Harbour, we had lunch and drinks, and we just spent the day with her. Like it was amazing. And then we had a party at, like, I think it's her PA's house. Like we just went there and had a party and spoke to her. Like she is so amazing, and I love her, and I love this book. So I don't know how easy it is to get anywhere other than Australia. And again, it's 96, so it's quite an old book. This is, I think, the first cover. They've since redone the art. It's, from the title, if you can't figure, it's a time travel book. It's strong female lead. It's amazing. Like, oh my goodness. It actually came to me in a bit of a bizarre circumstance. We were moving house, and it just turned up in my stuff. And I knew it wasn't mine because I knew my books. And I sort of went to my mum and I was like, whose is this? She's like, it's yours. I'm like, no, it's not. We didn't know whose it was. It was in our stuff. So it was in our house somehow. And not at the new house because it was a brand new house that had just been built. So no one had left it behind. It was just, it turned up and I read it and I fell in love. And I have read it hundreds of times, at least once a year since I first discovered it. It's amazing. Like, it's a real good pick-me-up, like, tough woman, you know, go get him, rah. Love it. Yeah, so if you can get a hold of that, I would highly recommend it. I love it. I am going to show, I guess, my second favourite book. It's amazing. The Golden Key. So it's got 3 authors, Melanie Rawn, Jennifer Robertson, and Kate Elliott. I have read their books individually, and I love them as authors. This book is such an interesting concept that I've never heard, like, seen done before. But I don't read it as often as I would like, because this is my 3rd copy. I am very particular about my books. I don't like them to look red. Like, I don't like them damaged. But because it's such a thick book, it gets damaged when you open it. Like, it is what it is. It's getting harder to find, so I don't want to read it and damage it in case I can't replace it. It is not yet available on ebook. I've considered typing it up myself so I can have it and read it electronically. It's amazing. Like, I love it. So yes, they're my favourite books. Ancient Future, hands down. Hands down my favourite. Pardon me. What's your favourite music? I'm bizarre. I don't like music. I don't listen to it if given the choice. I like some artists. Like, if I hear them on the radio, yeah, I like your music. I've bought music to support them, like, but I'll only be able to listen to it once or twice before I'm just... And I think it's my mind. My mind is too busy all the time. Music isn't enough of a distraction. So if I need background noise, I put on a TV show or a movie I've seen like hundreds of times, and there are a lot of them. And if I want to listen to something and I can't watch, I've got podcasts. I used to have audiobooks. Can't do them anymore because there were a few narrators that I just really... They killed books that I knew I already loved. So I've just stepped away from the audiobook world. But yeah, so if I need to listen to something and I can't watch it, it's podcasts. So I don't like music, and I know that probably offends and horrifies so many of you, but it's not enough of a distraction. It's not enough for my mind to focus on, to stop. Like, my mind is always moving and it's horrible and I hate it, but it is what it is. It could be worse. I found ways to manage it, so moving on. And there is another one. What one word best describes you? I don't know. I've never been good at describing myself, let alone in one word. I'm not even going to try. So if anyone has some ideas down below, maybe. I don't care. You see me the way you see me. Everyone takes me differently. It is what it is. Who can really sum someone up in one word, though? Like, that's a big deal. I'm going to move on now. So that's Know Your Needle Walker tag. If you've got any other questions, as I said, put them down. Send me a message. I'll answer anything. Like, I'm open book. I don't hide anything. I don't care. There's no secrets. I've got nothing to hide. But I'm going to move on. So, my first and only finish for cross-stitching, and it was just so perfect in its irony, I had to do it. I have fully finished it. I framed it myself, and I'm really proud of the job I did. Like, it's really quite neat considering. Anyway, moving on. My finish, I never finish anything. It's just so perfect. Like, I've been cross-stitching for 10 years, technically, and this is my first finish. And I finished it like 2 days ago, so I could record this video. I had to finish this before I recorded. So yes, that, can I see, is my first finish, and my only finish. And it's perfect. I charted it myself in Pictopat, which I'll link below if you haven't heard of it. One of my favourite fonts on Microsoft Word, and I just love it so much. The only thing I would have done differently, the top row isn't centered. That's not framing issues. That's me not having the Ada properly. Originally, I'd done it a lot smaller, but I didn't, like, I stitched 2 letters. I'm like, no, it's too small. I don't like it. But I didn't think to recount the Ada before I changed it. But it fit and it's good and I love it. Like, amazing. Well, I think it's amazing, and I'm so proud that I finally finished something after 10 years. And honestly, I don't care if I finish anything again, because as I said, it's the process and the organising that I love. But getting into Flosstube, hopefully I'm inspired enough, because I love seeing everyone else's whips, that I want to get another finish. The plans that I have, so these two I don't have, unfortunately. They are both by Dimensions. They're Dimensions kits. I won't use the kit because I can't. Whoop, no, this way. I can't do kits. Again, OCD. I've got a very particular way of doing things. I love them so much. They're both by Dimension. Family is 70, 65, 140, and home is 70, 65, 117. So I am on the hunt for these two. Not properly, if that makes sense, because money is quite tight, but they will be mine and I will stitch them. Now, they're obviously Dimensions. I want to say right now, don't copyright. I don't want to steal anyone's copyright. Like, I don't want to tread on anyone's toes. I have got photos here, so it's easier to show, but I'm not claiming any copyright. Now, I was going to go through all my wanted whips, which is what I call my Hades, because I don't own the charts as of yet. But then I printed them out and realised I have this many. That's a lot. And this video is already going to be long. So what I'm going to do, link up here, link down below, I'm going to go through my Hade wanted whips separately. So if you're interested in seeing the 100 and something Hades I want to do, go see that video, because this one's already going to be long enough. Moving on. So this one, again, not taking anyone's copyright. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, and I guess I'll figure out another way if I'm not. Surely I'm allowed. Like, I'm not claiming this as my own. This is amazing. Timothy Dean. This is a photo. Like, 76 photos or something from a storm that happened in Canberra last week. Like, it was massive storm, as you can tell from this. This is where I live. This was last week. I have contacted him, and he's chasing storms at the moment, so he's not on Facebook very often. I've contacted him. I'm hoping he allows me to get Michelle to design or to chart it up. So obviously I will pay him royalties, like contact Michelle, like, so that if he allows me, so hoping he does, that will be a Supersize Max color, because I have an obsession with Supersize Max colors, and I figure if you're gonna cross stitch and you love it that much, you're gonna do it well. So yeah, I think I've got something like 5 Supersize Max colors, if not more, waiting to hear if he allows me to do it. Okay, the next whip or plan, this one I will be starting soon. I've got to create the chart. I'm not creating it myself, but I am putting the chart into one. It's just going to be easier to show you. Alessandra Adelaide's tea. Love it. I had this brilliant idea, as I do, to have this scented and then to have 5 of them with the colorways of the rainbow. So I contacted an Etsy seller, I will link her below, and I got her to make me a watercolor splodge. So they're obviously the 5 colors, standard rainbow colors, whatever. And this, sorry, just waiting for the thunder. This is going to go in the middle of them all. Not this color. I'm actually going to be doing the tea in beads. And these are going to be threads. So the reason I'm going to create a pattern is because I want to combine the two. I don't want to bead over existing stitches, and I don't want to have to be trying to concentrate on 2 different charts for one thing, especially because most of my stitching is done out and about when I'm at dancing. I do talk while I stitch, so that was just too much for me to concentrate on. The photo's probably not able to really show the gorgeousness of these beads, but you can see they're Mill Hill. The numbers are there. The main part of the, sorry, I shouldn't put this down too early. The main part of the cup, the dark green, is going to be done in black. The light green on the cup is going to be done in this gorgeous metallic grey. Like, you really can't see it, but it's a shine. Like, there's not just a grey, it's a beautiful metallic finish. And then the clearish white will be the steam. So that's, I'm very excited to start, but it takes a bit to create the chart. And unfortunately, I was 3/4 of the way done. And then I realized that, unfortunately, I wasn't very clear, or there was a language issue, and the size of the chart originally done wasn't big enough. So I contacted her, she was amazing. I've got new ones, so I've just got to rechart it. Again, don't care. Next one is Connie G. I think it's Connie G Designs, or Connie G. She's gorgeous. Her stitch along, so 2018-2019, so it's a 2-year stitch along. These are the first 2. This one is number 1. Oops. This one's number 2. So it's sort of a black work thing, but it's tiny and it's gorgeous. And I just had to do it. I saw it and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because that's how things happen, isn't it? So yes, they're most of what I have. Then I have, this one is a Heaven and Earth design. Now, I think I mentioned it in my other one. My Heaven and Earth designs, with my OCD being really bad at the moment, and I'm sorry if I've already said it in this video, this is take 2 or take 3, because I've had technical issues. My OCD doesn't want me to work on any of my Heaven and Earth designs until I have them all prepared. You saw the pile. I've got over 100 charts I want to do. There is no way I'm going to have the charts and the fabric anytime soon. So you may not see Hades for a while. Hopefully, I'm hoping that with my new diagnosis and eventual new meds I'll be able to start on what I've got, but anyway, this Heaven and Earth Designs, however, you will see. So this is Motherhood by Selena Fenich, and the reason you can see this one and not the other ones is because this isn't for me. This is for my sister, well technically my nephew. It's a birth sampler. He is 18 months old. It is not entirely my fault that we're only just starting it. I had started the colour version, and I said to my sister, I'm going, you know, it's a lot of pink. If you have a boy, you may not like it. And she's like, yeah, it's great. Took her about 2 days, I think. And she's like, well, do you think maybe there's something else? I just knew. So I didn't work too much on that one. Unpicked it. Dyed the fabric. Absolutely love how it turned out. I don't know if this is true to colour because the lighting is horrible. The daylight disappeared. I had almost finished the first colour. I had like 3 partial pages to go because at that time I was still doing extreme cross country. And then I found out, I don't know whether the chart dimensions change between the colour and the black and white, because the black and white is obviously no background, or whether I just didn't count properly, but it didn't fit. So I had to unpick it. Yeah. So I'm going to start that again soon. You'll see an update on that one next week. And then the last whip that I have planned is the quotes. I'm sure everyone's seen it, if not even thought about doing it or had done it. I'm going to change the colour on this, going to do a colour conversion. It's not that I don't like the colours chosen, I just love purple, and I just want them purple. So I dyed my fabric yesterday. I decided that I wanted it on a coffee colour. So, but I love that. You wouldn't think so with OCD, but I love that. So you can see the start of my gridding process. I use fishing line. Where did I put it? That one. It's all. So 8 pound. There is a 6 pound now, but I've gridded too much and I can't do. You don't need to know that. 8 pound fishing line. So that's how I start gridding. I find the center. I use pins every 10 and I'll go through and put that line in, and so this will be gridded and started for next week as well. And I have made a tiny start. I'm really upset that the colour's not showing. That is a purple. It's a really light lilac. But yeah, that's exciting, and it still smells like coffee, which is amazing. I probably should have found out how to do it better so I could like wash it, but who doesn't want to smell coffee? So that's my finish and my plans. I do have one more plan that I forgot to print out, so I'm going to get a photo of that up for you. So this is Rainbow Blocks by the Crafty Mummy. I'm pretty sure this is a free pattern on her blog. I'll link that below. I want to do them as coasters, but I need to find those coaster pieces. And again, I've got a lot of other things. I don't need any more whips. With my Hades, if it continues in the current vein, this is how they're all going to be finished before I can start. So this is one of the story keeps that I've done to completion. So you've got the name there in one of the cross stitch fonts that I fell in love with. Gridding, love it. And I've just edged with, it's kind of bias binding, but it's not, and a stitch on my sewing machine. So if my OCD has its way, all my Hades are going to look like this before I start. Hopefully not. Like, I love them so much and I just want to start. So fingers crossed I can get through it and get some stitching done on the Hades. the only other thing I wanted to quickly show you was my thread. I've never seen it stored like this before. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I would love to know that someone else does it this way. But I cut it, so that's the length of a normal skein. So yeah, same. I cut it, do a little fiddling around with the top, and that's how I store it. I have it in a little Ziploc bag. I now have a second one because I no longer can loop start. I sometimes have leftover thread that's long enough to keep stitching with, so I put it in there. So yeah, if you can tell, they come off really easily. That pops off. That's there. Samuel got to it. He took all the labels off. He had 30 centimeter string, 30 centimeter length of thread everywhere. So I think that's a foot. It was beautiful, beautiful color. But yeah, so I'm actually quite impressed that I've managed to keep a storage the same after 10 years. If anyone's interested in me showing you, it's like a 2-second thing, but I've got, I went shopping in the Boxing Day sales. I shouldn't have, but I was so close to a complete collection and they had like 50% off, so I'm just like, I had to. So I now have a complete DMC collection, which is awesome, and that will help hopefully with the color conversion because I have access to everything. Other than that, I think I'm going to finish it here. If you've got any questions, obviously don't hesitate, like open book, no secrets. I don't care what you ask, I'll answer. I'm going to do 3 shout outs of the people I have watched already since coming back to Flosstube. I'm a completionist. I've watched from video 1 right through. So I was brought back to Flosstube with Stitching Fleur. She is Jeff Pritchard's wife. I started her videos because her progress on one of his artworks, pieces of artwork, photography, whatever, amazing. From her, I found Ginger Gerald Stitcher. Love his stitching. Oh my goodness. And from Gerald, sorry, from Ginger, I found Bendy Stitches. Michelle. I will link 3 of them below. I will do shout outs when I am up to a new person, but as I said, I'm a completionist. I'm hoping to make these videos weekly, so I don't know how much time I'll have to watch because, as I said, I'm at dancing. So I'll have plenty of whips to show, but I don't know how much YouTube time I have because while I am at dancing for 15 hours a week, I'm talking to the other mums, so I can't exactly watch YouTube. So yes, I'll have whips to share every week, so I'm going to attempt to keep a weekly schedule. If I don't have enough time because I don't spend a lot of time at home during the school term, at the moment we're in school holidays, another week to go, oh my goodness, they're driving me insane. But that aside, during school, I'm never at home. I leave like 6:37 in the morning and I get home 8:30 at night. So I spend most of my day out. I don't care. I love it. Love my kids. Love what I'm doing for them. They're only young ones. Long story short, I'll have plenty of whip updates, but I won't necessarily be able to record. But I will do my best. My husband's night out is Saturday night. I think we've got a pretty good system. I go out Friday nights with friends. He goes out Saturday nights with friends. We spend Sunday as a family. So Saturday nights are when I will be recording, if I get to. My Instagram, I've got 2 channels or handles. I've got Therese.j.warner, and that's where I follow everyone. That's where I put all of my, I guess, standard Instagram. And then I've got Therese.stitches. Now, I don't follow anyone on that account, so please don't take offense if you follow me on that and I don't follow you back, because almost guaranteed, unless I've missed it and you've slipped through the cracks, I'm following you on my main. I'm hoping to get up to daily updates on my stitching account, which is why I created a new one, because I didn't want to alienate those who follow me on normal Instagram and who don't care about my stitching. I will put them down below. I will link everything I can. And hopefully I'll see you next week. So I've kept it under an hour. Pretty impressed with myself. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.